Thank you.
Good evening. Today is Thursday, August 20th, 2026. I'd like to call this meeting of the Auburn City Council to order. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Diego.
Here.
Councilor Overstreet Wilson.
Here.
Councilor Cuddy.
Here.
Councilor Clarko.
Here.
Mayor Genatino.
Here, please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silent prayer or reflection. Thank you. Please be seated. Public announcements.
Thanks, Mayor. Real quick, we just have a couple of events still happening in our city parks for the remainder of summer. The next Saturday market is this Saturday, August 22nd, over at the Equal Rights Heritage Center, 25 South Street, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The music there this weekend is Jess Novak. There's vendors and some kids' activities there as well. Next week, Monday, August 24th, is our final movie in the parks with Paddington in Peru. That's at Hoops Park at 8:30 p.m. And then the final Hoops Park summer concert of the summer is Tuesday, August 25th, 6 to 8:30 p.m. with the band Dead and Friends. That's all I have to say.
All right, very good. Move on to the public to be heard.
At this point in time, we will open the public to be heard portion of the council meeting. Residents are asked to state their name and address for the record. Please keep remarks to 3 minutes or less, and please observe commonly accepted rules of courtesy and decorum.
Very good. Is there anybody wishing to be heard this evening? Yes, front row.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Sullivan. I live at 12 Holly Street here in Auburn. For full disclosure, I work at Seymour Library, but that has no bearing on my remarks. I am a proud trans woman. We are a tiny minority, so most people don't know any trans people personally. It can make us feel like an other. So in order to save you from that intellectual trap, I'm going to tell my story. And then I am going to conclude with a question I would like you to consider seriously. I have lived in Auburn since 1979. I'm a product of Herman Ave Elementary, East Middle School. I graduated from Auburn High, Cayuga Community College. In kindergarten, most of my friends were girls. But around first grade, that all started to change. I noticed that boys and girls started to segregate. I also noticed that boys started using homophobic slurs and violence to enforce this division. Adults seemed to allow this tacitly. It became unsafe to be perceived as gay, and in those days, nobody really knew anything about trans identity. So I spent my school career worried about being labeled queer and fearful that somehow the slurs might really apply to me. After college, I moved back to Auburn to start a family. I got my first apartment and my first personal internet connection. Within 2 months of that, I figured out that I was queer and trans. All it took. What followed was a long struggle as I worked through complex feelings and weighed risks. Through most of that time, there were zero legal protections for trans people. I knew that coming out would jeopardize my employment, my housing, my family, absolutely everything. So for almost 15 years, I suffered in the closet, accumulating chronic health conditions related to stress and anxiety before I came out and started to transition and to live authentically. Right now in Auburn, there is a rising tide of hostility against members of the LGBTQIA+ community. This is where you come in. And this is the question. What kind of city do you want Auburn to be? Right now, it is the kind of city where I have had slurs yelled at me from moving vehicles on 4 occasions in broad daylight in Auburn this summer alone.
Ms. Sullivan, your time is up.
I have but 3 sentences more.
I have to keep everybody to 3 minutes.
I am not going back into the closet. I am not going to tone it down, and I'm not going to be quiet. I am speaking out for equal protection for all, because this is the kind of city I want Auburn to be. What kind of city do you want Auburn to be?
Thank you. Mr. Rudolph?
James Udall, 106 Osborne Street. Before I begin my address, I'd like to support what Ms. Sullivan had to say. Since I put up the LGBT pride flag in the month of June in support of my 2 sons, I too, when I'm out in my garden in the front of my house on Osborne Street, there's a gentleman in a black Acura TLX who likes to hurl the, a few F-bombs and some slurs. I guess he assumes that I'm also gay, so because I put up a flag. So I support you, and it shouldn't be like that. Chief, if you know of where, use those cameras.
Mr. Rudolph, I need you to address
Use
this
those
body.
cameras to find that black Acura TLX 2018 to 2020. You'll find the guy who's harassing. The other thing I wanted to say is that there was an article in the Citizen newspaper a few days ago about a slumlord named Zachary Suarez who's taken advantage of 2 Auburn families with very young kids. This guy is one of the worst slumlords in the city, but he's not the only one. Unfortunately, his story is not a one-off. The first instance was a family who rented from Mr. Suarez a few days before his property was going to be foreclosed. I understand they lost their deposit and rent money and then had to move into some temporary housing. The third instance was Mr. Suarez rented to another young family, and he engineered a condemnation. So he had his handyman apparently disable the breaker box and the water heater, and then code came and condemned the property, forcing them out. And then they lost personal property, and my understanding is that up until recently they were just at the Auburn Inn. Unfortunately, he's not a one-off. There are many slumlords in town who owe the city tens of thousands, if not almost a couple $100,000 in one case, in unpaid property taxes. Their properties show up at nuisance board meetings. Their properties are regularly condemned. 911 visits their properties repeatedly. What the city should do about it, all of the data points for a tenant to be armed with information intersects at the city. You know who's been in the nuisance board. You know who shows up at the city court with numerous evictions. You know where the 911 calls go. You know who doesn't pay their taxes. You know who these slumlords are. You should create a database here at the city so that tenants can search the properties or the names of these particular landlords to see if they are one of Auburn's slumlords. You should make this information easily and readily
3
available.
minutes is up, sir. Thank you. Mr. Goodman?
Hello, Walker Goodenow, 60 Mary Street. I wanted to thank the council for listening to what we've been saying over these past couple weeks, and I just wanted to heartily support the resolution ending the city's contract with Flock. So thank you for listening, and I hope that we will vote to end the contract with Flock.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bishop?
Hello. Excuse me. Hello. My name is Andrew Bishop. live on Bradford Street, Auburn, New York, and I do not drink the water in Auburn, at least not without running through it of reverse osmosis. Why is that? It's because we're being sued, as you well know, Mr. Mayor, because these people claim the water may have given them brain cancer. And there's other lawsuits coming too, I thought you should know. What with all the other issues. That being the case, Mr. Mayor, do you remember not too long ago, wasn't too long ago, I gave the city a check in front of everybody. And since News Channel 9 is here, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to do it again. This is a check. This is made out for $3,000. There it is, $3,000. That's what it costs to find out how much money.
Mr. Bishop.
That's how much it
Mr.
is,
Bishop,
Mr. Mayor.
I'm going to pause your time. I'm going to ask you to address this body, or we're going to have you not speak. That's the only reason I'm asking you to address
I am.
this body. No, you're addressing the audience.
I looked at the audience. I'm addressing you. Please stop stealing my time
No, I
and
paused
obey
your
the
time.
rules
I'm not stealing
of
anything
Robert.
from you.
Just like you ignore the rules at the end, and we don't get to speak about these things because you ignore that rule, even though it's in the city charter and it's written down. Now, here's the thing, Mr. Mayor. That check represents what it's going to take to find out who the culprits are using stable isotope analysis. A year and a half I've been here, talking myself blue, former mayor and now you. And like I pointed out, I've been at this a lot longer about trying to figure out who the culprits are than you have been speaking out about it. And it was the funniest thing. It was at the Sable Wasco Now, that the mayor and the city council here, Mr. Cuddy, both were running. Gentleman from, where was it, Cornell, Chinese gentleman, tells me about stable isotope analysis. Tells me good luck. Why? Because we can't find out who the culprits are in what ratios. And that check right there for $3,000 is what it takes. Now, the city will accept, what was it, $13,000 from who? Danny Wegman Foundation. So that they could put what? So that they could put the proper amount of chemicals in the water, make it safe there. All we're trying to do is find out, what is it in the water, Mr. Mayor? Is it the farmers or is it the sewage treatment plants?
30 seconds.
I could go on. There the money sits. I put my money where my mouth is, and in front of the cameras. There they are, Mr. Mayor. And there are your constituents. Do you want to stand as somebody that looks like the city is like committed to malfeasance, misfeasance, and nonfeasance, as well as obstruction of justice? Or doesn't that mean anything anymore? I'll receive the rest. I'm sorry, I'm going to give back the rest of my time to the rest of the public. Thank you again, Mr. Mayor, for your hard work, city councilors and others here.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. Time's up. Have a good evening. Yes, ma'am.
Oh boy, that's a lot to follow. My name is Jillian Barron, and I guess for the purposes of this meeting, I'm going to use the word transient, which I have never used before, because housing prices are astronomical, and as a self-employed person with a local office here in Auburn, I don't make enough money to support my family.
Ma'am, need you to address the body,
sorry.
please.
So I will address you guys. Thank you all for showing up. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hearing all of us, because what I heard tonight, and I think I needed to hear it, was that all of these issues that we're facing, like the LGBTQIA+, the slurs, the racial division, the water, these are national things, right? This is not something that we're facing alone. Housing is not something that we're facing alone. I can tell you right now that Monsanto is behind the things in the water. It's why I laugh when I hear political people going, well, we want to talk about the water. Well, we can talk about it until we're blue in the face, but until we're ready to confront our federal government, who is really owned by this money, then we're just chasing our own tail here. As for the LGBTQIA thing, I identify as fully human, and I really implore everyone to start doing that. Identify yourself as a human and find where your lines are, because the lines of division are too much and they're unnecessary. We are all here trying to do what we can with the resources in the best way possible, so we need to start uniting. As for the use of flat cameras, this division that we are facing is because there is an amount of control that is coming down at a government level. Are flock cameras beneficial to catch the bad guy? Absolutely, yes they are. Are they beneficial to the police? Of course they are. However, when do our rights start to become minimal, right? When are we gonna start looking at, if I'm in my backyard and I'm hanging out with my spouse or my kids, and maybe I'm doing things that are considered taboo, what are we going to do when those cameras become weaponized against us and they start watching the things that we're doing every day? And are you okay with those things? And that's not just a question for me, and it's not just a question for the group, it's a question on a national level. What are we going to do? And I think that we don't need them in our city unless we are ensuring that we have the proper controls in place to be able to say that we are using them to not weaponize against the humans, but to actually, move us forward in a positive, productive way. And I don't think that right now we have
30
those protections
seconds.
in place. I'm through. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yes.
Good evening, Mayor. My name is Tina Goodluck. This is my son, Micah. We live at the Auburn Rescue Mission, 51 Merriman Street, Auburn. And I'm here to speak about our housing dilemma that we're facing. I just received my second violation today through DSS for refusing to inhabit an apartment that is not habitable and which is not safe for both of us. My son is 7 years old on the autism spectrum, and they wanted us to move into an apartment on the second floor, over 10 steps. I'm not ashamed. I'm proud of it that I'm 50 years old.
Ma'am, I need you to address this
I'm sorry.
body. That's
Yes. I'm 50 years old. I have injuries from a car accident that I have a doctor's note, but make the long story short that we are Native American. It was just 100 years ago, in 1924, that women here started the suffrage, for women's suffrage, and women were allowed to vote. And in that same year, 1924, that American Indians were allowed to be citizens of this country. And my struggle here is that, all we want is a home to live in, a home on the first floor that's safe for me and him, that we can access in and out. And that's all we want is a home to thrive as a family. We're not asking for anything extravagant, luxurious, or nothing. We just want something on the first floor to accommodate us. And to be told that we're facing a move out in 10 days and we can't utilize housing assistance anymore, and we don't have nowhere to go, and they're saying that we're not gonna be able to go back to the motel because it's not feasible, but it's feasible for all other families but us. Those are my concerns, and that I'm frightened about what's gonna happen in 10 days. And my son wants to say something. Go ahead, Micah.
What am I gonna say?
I don't know, just say it, Micah, and you just want a home.
I just want a home.
A room where he can be safe, and that's all we want. Thank you for hearing us.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sue Waby, resident of Auburn, and I own Regenerations Downtown. Before I start on what I wanted to say, I do want to say I know Tina. I've met her and her son. One thing that I know she was nervous and did not relate is the apartment that they want her to move into. A ceiling is caving in and there's dead birds in the attic. So clearly it needs to be condemned or something. She's worked very hard to get where she's at now, to get custody of her son, to have secure housing. And now the rug's being pulled out from under her because of this situation. Moving on to why I'm here, and I'm sure you're not going to be surprised by this. Parking downtown, and not only do we have back-in parking, that horse has been kicked around a few times, and we won't go into that. The parking rate is now double. So now we're going to remove kiosks, and we're going to put a sign up that says if you don't, you can either put the app on your phone, or you can use the QR code, or you can call an 800 number. And I'm just wondering if it occurred to anybody the exclusivity of that. That not everybody has a phone. Not everybody has a smartphone. Not everybody has a debit card or a Venmo or a PayPal. So for a body that prides itself on being very liberal, I think this is a very, it's not very inclusive to everybody. I've heard for the past couple of weeks, knowing that this is coming down the pike, from multiple people that come into my store that I'm not going to come downtown. I don't want to put another app on my phone. I'm not going to call an 800 number and have to give them information. You have multiple elderly people. Apparently the parking attendant told another business owner that, well, old people don't go downtown anyway. Yeah, although the Office for the Aging is there and so on. So, you know, I don't know who specifically makes those decisions or how it came about, but I think it's a very exclusive decision that now it's not open to everybody. You know, whether it's by their choice of not wanting to go through this process, which they have every right to do, or if it's that you don't care, it's like too bad, so sad.
30 seconds.
So, you know, I don't know what the answer is. I don't believe in paying for parking at all, but there you have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Kim Schultz. I live at 134 Woodlawn. I'd like to address a couple of the previous issues. One about parking downtown. There are, as an education major, educational technology, actually, there are a number of people who do have an inability to use technology, and I think that's something that should be considered in terms of the decision with the parking issue. And that's just the way people's brains work. The second thing I would like to say in terms of the flock cameras is I'm really hoping that cities that are canceling flock are not just changing to Axon cameras, which are just as problematic, if anything more problematic, because they're designed to be hidden, not open surveillance. And I also support what Ms. Sullivan said. But the main reason I'm here today is to bring attention to a series of attacks against a beloved civic institution, the Seymour Library. The library has decorated the signpost on Genesee Street with rainbow pride colors. Over the past few years, the symbol of inclusivity has been defaced several times. And let me be clear, this is a hate crime. The vandals are seeking to intimidate the queer community and those who would be supportive. Auburn has a long history of being on the forefront of civil rights. We were a hotbed for abolition and for women's suffrage. Harriet Tubman chose Auburn as her adopted hometown because of that. And now it seems like we are becoming a city where law enforcement is just treating hate crimes as common everyday vandalism. And I find that very upsetting and sad, because our public institutions represent all of us. When they are attacked, it is an attack against all of us, and we cannot ignore it. We cannot diminish it. We must be clear in our condemnation.
30 seconds.
And our expectations of it. We expect adherence to our tradition of inclusivity. We expect the elected officials to support all of the people. And we expect law enforcement to treat hate crimes with the seriousness they deserve. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Hello. My My name is Jane Sullivan. I live on 12 Holly Street. I don't have any prepared remarks, but I would like to just say I would like to second what the other people said about the flock and Axon cameras. I don't want the police department, I don't want whatever companies, the government, spying on everything I do out in public. Not because I'm doing anything illegal, but because I think I have the right to a certain amount of privacy, to not just have everything I do watched. And I think most of us, and I think most of the citizens of Auburn would agree with that, would agree that that's a violation of our freedoms and our right to privacy to be watched by surveillance cameras everywhere. I mean, there's already surveillance cameras all over all the buildings. I don't see what we need flock cameras for. Thank you.
Clyde Bonadia, 11 Francis Street. And as a non-binary person, I would like to thank Ms. Sullivan for bringing up, those concerns, and, everybody, here who's like an ally and stuff. But mainly, I came down to speak about the flock cameras. I support the resolution to cancel the contract, and I think that if the city, if they're going to make us pay to cancel it, I think we should sue them. I think we should sue them. I think that the police department should face disciplinary action from it. And if we end up paying this money, I think we should take it out of the police budget.
In the back? Back row? The back row?
Hello, my name is Sam French. I'm on Walnut Street in Auburn. I would just like to express my support for the resolution to end the city's contract with Flock. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Okuzik?
So here we are again about the flock cameras.
Can you state your name for the record,
I live
please?
on Chapman. My name is Mrs. Okasik.
Thank you.
Here we are again about these flock cameras. And you're all going to vote on them tonight. So my question is, you're going to vote them out, okay? Everybody got their wish come true because we know how the vote's going to go. Who's going to pay for it? Because we've already paid to put them in, so we can't use that money. That was a grant. We're going to get fined for taking them out. It's going to cost possibly $60,000 to $80,000 to take them out. We have $0 in our budget, and we have $0 in our budget for next year. So where's that money going to come from? You going to pay for it? Because you're pushing the hardest to have them taken out. Is anybody that pushing for Flock to be taken out, are they going to help pay for that? Because I'm thinking that,
Hold on
okay.
a second, I'm going to pause your time. Can we not disrupt from the audience, please? Everybody else had the respect at the podium. I'm asking the same from you. Thank you.
I'm thinking ultimately what's going to happen is it's going to get pushed off on the taxpayers. I pay my property taxes, I pay my school taxes. I can't afford more taxes, okay? Because everything is getting pushed off on the people who pay taxes, property taxes, school taxes, garbage pickup, water, sewer. We're paying our taxes, plus we're going to pay an additional 8% because of what happened with the budget. I drove around this city and didn't pick side streets. I just picked a few minor, like Genesee Street and Grand Avenue. Do you know that right now, because people are so fed up, we have on those streets, Genesee and Grand Avenue, we have over 186 properties that are up for sale. Does that tell you something? People are getting fed up, and they're leaving Auburn. And I'd be interested for everyone to walk or get in your cars after this flock problem goes through and you guys decide to get rid of the flock cameras. And I agree, I don't care for the flock cameras either, but I don't think just saying, let's get rid of
30
them
seconds.
is the solution, and that we eat $80,000 just like that, and that the taxpayers pick it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. My name is Bree Kishman, and I reside at 6041 East Pine Grove Road in Cicero. I wanted to put a face to a name, as I am the one who submitted the proposal on the behalf of myself and my team of theater, architectural, artistic, and nonprofit professionals, including people who restored and ran the Eberson Theater built the same year, now known internationally as AFI Silver, to rehabilitate the historic Shine Auburn Theater. We have formed a 501c3 nonprofit organization called Shine On. Shine On will fundraise, own, and operate the theater. We will restore what we were able while modernizing it for capacity and other amenities such as ADA compliance, bathrooms on every floor, an expanded lobby, etc. We will be a fully transparent nonprofit, especially for our fundraisers and financials, exactly how I run my current nonprofit successfully for the last 6 years. The Shine, from what we understand, is the last theater Eberson designed before his son took over. So this is not only a huge piece of theater history, but history itself in what Auburn calls history's hometown. This is not a moment, it's a movement. Troy, Harlem, Chicago, Dallas, and so many more theaters are currently undergoing restoration and rehabilitation to save history. After the theater is complete, the nonprofit would continue operations with a full season of live music, film, and community events. We would cultivate relationships with educational institutions interested in internships and volunteer opportunities for theater management, tech positions, theater history, and preservation, as well as provide avenues for creatives. It is vital to teach our youth to be ambassadors of our historic masterpieces. This is the most important aspect for me as an educator and an artist myself. I know trust is to be gained and earned, not given. I plan to back my words on action, and I know it will take time to earn that trust. I grew up in Northeast Ohio, where there still has yet to have a revitalization. I am proud to say that much of Central New York is having theirs. This is one of the many reasons why taking the Shine, what used to be Auburn's community centerpiece for parties, parades, and everything in between, and giving it back to the citizens of Auburn as a cultural hub again is so important. We are a very passionate team who are ready for this project. This is going to be a journey, and I hope you all join us so we can return the historic structure back to the citizens of Auburn. It takes a village, and I believe together we can. I would like to leave you all with a quote from the Citizen newspaper, opening night of the Auburn Shine Theater, 1938, by the architect John Eberson himself. There is a significance attached to the dedication of the Shine's New Auburn Theater, which marks the occasion as one of supreme civic importance. Those who look beneath the surface are quick to sense that here is a great forward step for Auburn. The new theater is more than just a mere building, more than an architectural monument. It is an institution living and vital, the embodiment of a sublime faith in the future of Auburn. It is something for which every citizen of this thriving community should be proud. Let us make every citizen proud again. Our team is honored to be the next stewards of the Shine if voted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, City Council. My name is Radamis Bradley Mercado Barbosa. I live over on the corner of York and State Street, where I have a beautiful view of a nice flat camera sitting right across the street. I came from Alaska after living up there for 10 years. I was born and raised in Florida for 15. I'm 27 now, and up there in Alaska, I studied a lot of politics. Political science is my passion. But after learning so much about this world, I decided to become a hermit. Stay inside doors, stay away from this world. There's too much ugliness in this world. But I've learned that if you do that, people will find ways to take advantage of your time. If you cancel this contract with Flock, I implore you to think ahead. Palantir, Axon, they are just as bad. When you find a different alternative, no AI in those cameras. They are faulty, they are not perfect. There are so many different license plate reader companies that are exclusive for license plate reading. We have no issue with those, so long as they're publicly and not privatized, so long as they're publicly put in front and center of the public. When it comes time to the information that those license plate readers collect, do not privatize the information. If something happens where that body is infected, like our current federal government is, we are screwed. Because whoever has access to that information privately will and can use it against you in any means possible. So I implore you, cancel Flock, find a better alternative, and do not fail the city of Auburn, like I've seen so many places in this country be failed by their city councils. Thank you for my time.
Thank you.
Morning. I'll keep it short and sweet. My name is Jake Loeb. I live at 61 Walnut Street, and I would like to express my support for ending any contract with Flock, as well as any future contracts with any direct competitors. It's all pretty whack. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ryan Dudek. I live at 8967 State Route 90 in King Ferry. I grew up here. I recently moved back. I am a co-owner of a small business in Auburn on State Street, right across from the prison. On paper, you may think a small business owner would want a system like Flock. However, as my day job, I work in technology, sorry, as a software engineer. I urge this council to push against the mass surveillance state, especially mass surveillance by a private entity with many privacy issues already known. I'll save you a diatribe or lessons of morality, but I suspect many in this room feel the way I do, especially you. And again, as many have already said, please, no private companies, no AI.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Hoff?
Hi, my name's Katie Hoff. I live at 30 South Lewis Street. Just short and sweet, I just wanted to voice my support for voting against Flock. And I'm hoping to attend future meetings where we can talk about a viable alternative for it. And thank you for doing this vote.
Thank you. Yes, in the back. Ms. Powers?
Hi, Jenna Powers, Main Street, Aurora. I am also just here to support the council's resolution to end the Flock contract, and thank you for hearing us. I have a quote from Karen Howe's Empire of AI book. There is a different way forward. Artificial intelligence doesn't have to be what it is today. We don't need to accept the logic of unprecedented scale and consumption to achieve advancement and progress. So much of what our society actually needs, better health care and education, clean air and clean water, a faster transition away from fossil fuels can be assisted and advanced with, and sometimes even necessitates significantly smaller AI models and a diversity of other approaches. AI alone won't be enough either. We'll also need more social cohesion and global cooperation, some of the very things being challenged by the existing vision of AI development. But the empires of AI won't give up their power easily. The rest of us will need to wrest back control of this technology's future, and we're at a pivotal moment when that's still possible. Just as empires of old eventually fell to more inclusive forms of governance, we too can shape the future of AI together. Policymakers can implement strong data privacy and transparency rules and update intellectual property protections to return people's agency over their data and work. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes,
name's Amanda Leidick. I'm on 65 South Street. I'm here today as I do not believe in the flock camera system that has been implemented. What concerned me when I was reading through was that it's not brought up to council, and I hope and I would like for future for when these types of safety measures or surveillance measures be brought up that surveil our community here. They should be brought to council, license plate readers, red light running readers, and other types of camera-based surveillance that can be used to ticket and target citizens here in this community. So thank you for listening, and I hope that the flock cameras are taken down relatively immediately. As it's written right now, will be up for another 30 days and used for another 30 days. So I would like for the equipment to be more immediately removed, so it's not continually surveilling everyone for the next month. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to be heard? Yes, in the back.
Laszlo Thielman, 113 Meadowlark Wheatsport. I am somebody who works in Auburn, and I come here all the time for everything from shopping to being with my friends. I'm very much against the flock cameras and voting against that. Also against the use of AI and any other future cameras. Anybody who's aware of the use of AI or is up to date on what AI is doing or how it's being used understands that even OpenAI has admitted that AI itself will refuse user rules in software entities and will attack other businesses, groups, government entities, AI entities in order to do whatever it wants. Unfortunately, AI really is what movie it speaks. It's not under our control, and using it furthermore is going to be damaging to humanity. That's all.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to be heard? All right, we'll close the public to be heard. Meeting minutes will be forthcoming next week. City Manager report, Ms. Haynes.
Thank you, Mayor. We have one bid opportunity on the city's website, our chemical bid, which is due on August 31st. I wanted to say congratulations to Sarah Griffin and Marshall Butler, members of our Auburn City Ambulance Department, who received their New York State Advanced Emergency Medical Technician certifications. Thank you to these employees for their dedication to advancing their knowledge and skills. In accordance with Department of Health testing procedures, city staff took water samples again this week with non-detects in both raw water and finished water. I have a message from our city arborist who has been receiving concerns related to Norway maples. The Norway maple is being affected by a fungi group called anthracnose. This anthracnose kills the foliage of the tree. This does not mean the tree is dead. These affected trees will grow back their leaves next season again. The best treatment is to thoroughly clean up the leaves and dispose of them, and this will help prevention of it coming back next year. One note on our parking program, kiosks remain in the center part of our downtown between William and Dill and North and South Street, as well as in the parking garage. And there are daily parking passes for sale at the Equal Rights Heritage Center directly across from the parking garage. This is in addition to the Pango options. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Haynes? Reports from members of council? Councilor Clarko?
I just wanted to share that I attended 2 events in the past week. One was the camp out at Bosie's for the children, where they built video games where you had to have your fingers attached to actually make it work. They did cosplay and things like that, so it was wonderful to see the youth embrace those creative outlets. And then on Tuesday, I attended a lake panel discussion to talk about the health of our watershed and the role the city plays in protecting Omasco Lake's watershed.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. We will move on to our first resolution for this evening, Grant Resolution number 95 of 2026, authorizing an application for an acceptance of a grant from the New York State DCJS 2026 LE Tech Program. Do we have a sponsor? Councilor Clarko, second by Councilor Diego.
Council Resolution number 95 of 2026. Whereas the City of Auburn Police Department desires to participate in the 2026-27 Law Enforcement Technology Grant Program administered by New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services, and whereas the purpose of this grant is to support innovation and forward-thinking approaches that have become synonymous with professional law enforcement activities through the investment of funds for technology to ensure police departments have access to tools needed to fight crime and protect New York State citizens. And whereas the 2026 Lead Tech Grant Program funding cap for the City of Auburn is set at $250,000 with no match requirement. And whereas the purpose of the New York State DCJS funding solicitation for the City of Auburn Police Department is proposing to procure emerging technologies in the areas of unmanned vehicles, also known as drones, life-saving equipment, patrol vehicle equipment, including cameras, and communication equipment up to the maximum eligible award of $250,000 with a tentative start date of January 1st, 2027. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Auburn that the Chief of Police or approved designee is hereby authorized to submit the grant application, execute all necessary contracts, agreements, and amendments with New York State DJS on behalf of the City of Auburn. Upon approval of the grant, the City of Auburn is authorized to accept the grant award in an amount up to $250,000, and that the City Controller is authorized to appropriate and account for these funds during the grant contract period, and the resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption.
Very good, thank you. Chief, do you have anything you want to add before I turn it over to council?
We obviously used these funds last time for something else. This time we're looking to replace our drones, our radios that are almost obsolete inside our patrol vehicles. We know that our portables are also obsolete, so we're going to try to use some of the money for that to pay for the radios inside the cars. There's other various equipment that we would use for our hostage negotiators. We're looking into in-car cameras. That might be out of our price range, so I'm trying to afford those. So the goal is to try to get us the equipment we really need the most, which is radios. It's our top priority to bridge the gap between the excessive bill that we're probably going to see with our portables. So,
Any questions for the chief? Councilor Cuddy?
Yes, Chief. So as you heard this evening, there's a lot of concern about cameras. And one of the things that that comes up again and again is the AI technology integrated in the technology in the cameras. Along with the resolution that we are voting on tonight, does recommend a policy in which we will be more vigilant when we look into technologies, camera technology specifically. Has this technology been decided as to what kind of technology is going to be on those cameras in the cars, or is that still being figured out?
no, it's being figured out. We looked at Axon. It's more of out the car and inside the back of the car for a prisoner. Obviously, if something was to happen for the prisoner, we have it on camera, we can use it for court purposes. So if they're given spontaneous utterances to the crime they just committed, we would utilize that against them in court, which is legal. So
it's on the car, on the person, it's not like integrated. The idea is that not have it integrated into third party or private companies that will have access to this data at a later time.
I'd have to look at that, all those details, but if I had to take a guess, we're not even going to be able to afford it anyways because of the price tag.
All right, I'm just checking, again, like it's a very important issue that the public is very concerned about.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else?
I do. Jen?
Oh.
I do. Yep. What does the grant application do?
September, I believe.
So it's due in September. Do you have an itemized list of things, specific things that if we were awarded the $250 that you would purchase, not just a verbalized list? So if you're going to buy drones, how much money would you spend on drones? If you're going to purchase radios, how much money would you purchase on radios? And the specific brand of each of those tools that you
Yes.
would be looking to. So you do have that. Can that be shared?
To council or to who?
Could that actually be shared to council? Because my understanding is if this is the grant that we used the last time to purchase that monitoring equipment, we didn't get what we needed the last time. And in fact, it didn't even come to council. So if this is the same grant that we're looking at, and I'm going to just repeat back what I thought Councilor Cuddy say and what I thought I heard you say is that potentially this grant will also purchase new monitoring equipment and to go into vehicles. Is that not what I heard?
It is in-car cameras.
In-car cameras.
That we would be looking at, but I also
Okay.
said that more than likely we can't afford those.
But we can't afford those. So if we're going to look at in-car cameras, there's probably other versions of the specific camera that you were looking at, but we have no idea of the name of that, what exactly they would be doing. So what I don't want to happen is there be a vote of a yes, because all of the money that we could be awarded is needed. There are things that do need to be updated. There are tools and resources that our department does need, but I don't want to, in a year from now, have conversations about the things that we purchased and we all just said yes, but we don't have any background information on the things that were, the things that we just purchased. We just gave a blanketed yes, and I think that there are better ways for us to communicate the things that we're going to be buying, regardless if they're grant money or tax money. And I think a piece of how we probably got to where we are in 2026 is because maybe council hasn't asked enough questions in the past, and maybe that worked in the past, but I think moving forward with how things are tight, with the way in which our community members are invested, the way in which technology is moving forward, I think that it's important that we have open dialogue, and I think that it is really important that a budget is given and is itemized so that we know what we're saying yes to. Heard the comments about Flock over and over again, and what I received sitting here is that their license plates readers, but doing the research, it's much more than that. We had no idea. So I don't want to be a year from now saying we had no idea. I don't like looking as if I just said a blanketed yes and didn't ask the questions that I was actually thinking. So these are the questions that I'm actually thinking. If this is the grant that we applied for last time and received, and stuff was just purchased, and now here we are a year and a half later having consequential conversations, I think that there's a better way for us to apply for this grant, keep the city council informed, we can keep the community informed, and then at the end of the day, at least everybody can feel very safe that we were transparent with them, and the resources that we chose to buy have been well researched, and we have references about those tools. And I don't know if that was a question, but more of a statement. It wasn't a question. Other than the application is due in September. So if I asked you to bring together a proposal, and maybe not the actual grant, but put together a slide and tell us what that grant, the monies would be used for, what specifically you are researching, the actual names of the products that you and the rest of the department are looking at, would that give us enough time? Would you have enough time to do that for next week, plus finish the grant?
I won't be here next week. I'll be on
Is there
vacation.
somebody in your stead that could be here?
Yes. I can name them off right now.
I would actually prefer to have that in writing.
Okay.
And as a presentation.
Okay.
I think it's fine to ask for that information, but I think it's premature. We don't even know if we're going to get the grant.
Sure.
I mean, we have to apply for the grant in September. It has to be put in by then. my understanding is DC, in my conversations with DCJS, they're revising the way that they're awarding the grants. They're going to be reimbursable, so it'll all have to be approved, whereas we're kind of in the situation we're in now because they weren't doing it that way. And DCJS has kind of learned from what's going on across the state that they have to model these grants like they have every other grant that the state does, where you spend the money, then it's reimbursed. So is it fair to say we apply, and in the meantime, the chief provides us with information on what the money could potentially be spent on?
Yeah, I think that 100% is fair. I'm thinking more from a preemptive ask, so that the city council doesn't have to give, I'm thinking city council doesn't have to give you permission to buy this, but to have the information. So applying for the grant, I think 100% makes sense, and thank you for clarifying how those awards are going to be given out, how they're going to be monitored at the upper level. But it is important. So if applying for the grant and getting that information in place, not knowing if we're going to get it or not, preemptively asking for you to put together a PowerPoint for us to see in what that budget would look like, because you have to put that in your proposal anyway, so just presenting that.
So we do a resolution for application, and which is tonight, and then there'll be a resolution to vote on if you're going to accept the funds later on. So I would assume at that point you would want the presentation done of what we are looking to purchase?
Yeah, because I want to make sure we're awarded the information, or awarded the money first, right? I think it's premature to present to the council and to the public what we're going to spend money on if we don't have an award of that money. So I would say as soon as we know there's an award, that we're going to receive that money, then present what you would potentially want to spend that money on. I think that's fair.
Before, I'm just going to do just a little bit of pushback. I think this city council has gotten in trouble doing things that way, because things move so fast in this community that we forget that that's the way the procedure was going to be. And I know my fellow councilors may not think that, so I know it's a two process. It's a two-step process. We vote today, yes. We get awarded it, we vote yes then. And then, is that voting yes means that we have no further involvement. After we vote yes to get to accept those grants, are we just in a conversation about them, or is our involvement more, are we more heavily involved in terms of our power? And maybe I don't want to use that word. I know I'm going to stop speaking. Maybe I don't want to use the word power, but maybe our power in oversight. Is that more, is it more beneficial for us as we represent our constituents to do that prior to the accepting of the funds, or to be informed after we accept the funds, if we're even awarded it? And I see some of my councilors have.
You were next.
I just want to maybe kind of clarify this so that I make sure that I'm understanding this process. So we will vote tonight to allow for you to apply for the grant. Once we hear back, if we are awarded the grant, then we can accept the grant. And since the grant is reimbursable, and the way we have our policy written now in terms of our department spending large sums of money, they will have to present what they're going to purchase before they can purchase it. That way we would actually approve it, and then we would get the reimbursement from the grant.
Typically with equipment, we are procuring that after the grant award. So the council isn't typically involved if we just procure it utilizing New York State and city procurement guidelines. Once we have the grant award and acceptance, then we move forward with that purchase. We obviously can do things the way the council would like, but that's the typical process. Just a quick note, just piggybacking on the conversation about application and acceptance. This resolution on number 2 is an acceptance. So if you want to have us come back, if we receive the grant, then we would need to strike number 2 and then come back when we receive the grant award.
B3, 13.
So there's under, now therefore be it resolved You would want to keep number 1, authorized to submit.
Okay.
And then number 2, and we do this regularly for efficiency typically, but I know this is a conversation that we want to continue with the council and make sure that you're involved. Number 2 says upon approval of the grant, the City of Auburn is authorized to accept the grant award. So based on this conversation, I'm assuming you would want to strike number 2.
We want to strike number 2. I mean, at least I would recommend that because we're here.
And then,
yeah,
and then if we receive the grant, then we can bring a grant acceptance resolution back to you, and we can provide the information that Councilor Overstreet Wilson is looking for.
Yeah, I think I read it. It's the City of Auburn that the City Council is authorized to accept, but it's basically like the City of Auburn, so not the council. So yeah, I would like to, so that we're not where we are in the future. Yeah, I think that is important to have that, to strike that.
Councilor Diego?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, we going to touch back on the process, what we're speaking of right now. We went through this a few months ago about how we were going to do these grants and how we were going to accept them. And we can pull the video to watch to make sure I'm accurate. But I said back then that every grant should be done like that. You should put in for it and then we should accept it. And you guys said, no, that's too much work for the staff to do. And I definitely realize, being one person, Mrs. Selvik up there, it definitely is. But we can't have it both ways. We either got to go and do it all the time. We can't just pick and choose depending on what department it is. Speaking on how this is going to be spent, like Councilor Overstreet Wilson said, I think when we get to this next resolution a couple pages later, you're going to be writing an internal policy that's going to control basically AI and the likes and license plate readers and this and that. I'm thinking it's going to cover 99.9% of it. What I'm not comfortable with is telling the police department how they can spend their money. I won't preemptively speak that you're going to take the flock cameras away today, but it's probably what's going to happen in about 20 minutes from now. I'm just not comfortable with telling them we have to look at their radios, this and that. I've been saying this since March. It's not about flock. This is about cameras. I've said it over and over, and everybody tells me, no, no, no. We have a couple people that come up and speak and say, we like to work with you on something else. But here we are right now speaking, hey, Chief Androsco, you're going to have cameras in the car now too? This is just to the point now where it doesn't matter if the police comes in and says we're going to use Axon, you're going to tell them no. If you say Motorola, you're going to tell them no. If you say we're going to put a camera in the police car, you're going to tell them no. This is the oversight that I'm not comfortable with, because we have 5 people controlling what the entire police department's going to do. Of course, the chief said he'd work with us off of the recommendations you had last week on different platforms to run the cameras, and he said that multiple times. I'm on board with working with you guys, but I'm not going to take this to the point where we're going to question drones and radios that they need and vehicles in the. I'm just not getting into that. If you want to do the grant where you're going to accept them to put it in today, and then we have to do it to accept it when it gets approved, then we do that with every grant. I mean, it seems like we're just kind of signaling out certain grants that we want to do that with. It's just my thought. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome, Councilman.
I want to add a little bit to that, and maybe I should have added 2 more sentences. When I said what products or what brands you would be using, that in respect to what Councilor Diego was specifically speaking about, that is not to give you permission or to take it away. It is to make sure that research was done. Secondly, I think that it is an understatement to not underline. I think every citizen here has a right to know how they are being surveilled. We got in this mess in the first place because we didn't know. I mean, that's the reason why we're having this conversation. And if we take a look at where those flock cameras are, to be surveilled, and we've been told that they are to read license plates numbers. We have no idea what they're actually reading, and we weren't given any information because they were just put up under the guise that it was for safety. Yes, it's for safety. I wouldn't have known what a flock camera was or what brand it was unless I did research. My expectation is that due diligence was done. If you buy a Motorola, if you happen to buy a Wilson camera, that's fine. I just want to know that the due diligence was done. And what are some of the data points? If you're going to buy, if any department is going to buy equipment because you need it, buy the equipment. But asking for some information is not about giving you permission or not. It's just about the due diligence being done. No one is going to go buy a cake if they haven't done their research on cake. And I might be minimizing that in terms of the scope of the importance of this conversation, but research is a very important thing. I have a right to know how I'm being surveilled, how that will be used against me, and let me make that very, very clear, because when I hear that it was chosen, those flock cameras were chosen for specific parts of this community, we weren't told why. We weren't told when they would be on. We weren't told what exactly you were looking for. We weren't told any of that. So I want to know. That's why I'm asking, not to give you permission or to take away the permission. I just want some due diligence done and to know that research has been done and presented to this council. Now, that might not make folk happy, but as a voted in representative, I'm just repeating the things that my folks have told me, but also as, as a tax-paying citizen, these are the things that I'm thinking. And that is not in disrespect to anybody.
Councilor Diego?
Thank you, Mayor. Just going to touch on a little bit what Council Overstreet Wilson said. Chief, I just got a question I'm going to have you answer. Do you got any pictures of any people on your flock cameras, or do we have license plates on the back of their cars, in the back of their car, unless it happened to see through the back window?
License plates. In the back
So
of the cars.
are we tracking people? Every person that walks down the street, can you see them on your flock camera?
No, sir.
All right. Are they specifically placed in certain parts of the city, or are they on the outskirts setting up the geofence?
Specific spots in the city to set up a geofence.
Correct. All right. Going back to what we're talking about, I'm just going to add this. I hope that the same thing we just spoke about right now, and I hope everybody does their due diligence. We're talking about asking questions and researching and everything. Everybody here has spoke on it now. I hope we do that during the budget process too, and not just when we're talking about flock cameras. You said it perfect, Councilor Overstreet Wilson. There should be questions every meeting on everything that we do here. I mean, I know people get tired of hearing me ask questions during the budget. It's not going to change for the next 3.5 years, so, you know, go ahead and strap in because it's coming. But that's what you should be doing. You should be doing your research on every single thing that comes on this agenda, not just flock, not this, not that. Everything that comes on it, that's what we got elected to do. You go through the packet every week. You do your homework. You look in. You ask questions. If you don't know, ask it. And there's no dumb question. Everybody knows that. I'm going to keep asking until I know the answers. I just think that there's still a wealth of misinformation about flock, and I'll get into it a little bit more when we get to the resolution. I'm not for flock by any means, but the amount of misinformation that's out there is absurd at this point. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Sure.
So, the city manager mentioned that this number 2, if the council would like to accept this grant. And I think given the situation that we have been in the past with this actual grant, I'm going to put a motion for this grant and this grant only. We've been here before. To have it either mention that we, as a council, need to accept this grant. I think that would address. I need to put that motion forward.
Is there a second on that motion?
I second that.
Councilor Overstreet Wilson. I think I want to make a motion on the motion then. That if we're going to do it for this one, I agree with Councilor Diego. We need to have a conversation among this body if we're going to change the way we go forward with all grants. Are we going to put the same scrutiny on every other department? And I think that's a conversation that needs to be had.
I'll second that.
Oh, so we have two motions on the floor. Let's deal with Councilor Cuddy's first. Councilor Cuddy, I might propose just striking through number 2 in its entirety.
Strike through. Yes.
That's cleaner.
Oh.
And then we can, the issue that the mayor and Councilor Diego brought up kind of piggybacks on your idea as well. But I think rather than come up with any language that might add or subtract from paragraph number 2, striking through it is cleanest. If you would be okay with that, that's what I would.
I'm fine with that. I would like this, my motion is to strike the number 2 from.
We need a second on that?
A second.
Call the roll on the motion.
Can we discuss that motion?
Yep, go ahead.
I'm going to struggle saying yes on striking that until we have settled the issue that we're going to do this moving forward, because I agree we need to be fair and consistent. That's something that I think we've been trying to fix with our policy rules and implementation, and so I don't feel that I could vote to do it to this one until we have decided what we're going to do with all moving forward.
Go ahead.
Yeah, adding to that, I think that's a conversation we should have Ms. Selvik involved in when we do this also, since she's got to do the work. I think that's going to be an important part of that when we get to that process, because that's what we spoke about months ago, about how much extra work it's going to be. If that's something we decide we're going to do, like you said, we do it for all of them.
So, Mr. Garland, would it be acceptable for us to bring that specific portion up in other business tonight to direct city manager to bring a conversation to the floor on an upcoming agenda?
I think that would be the most appropriate way to address that.
Is everybody okay with that? All right, so call the roll. Everybody all set with the motion? Call the roll on the motion.
Councilor Diego?
No.
Councilor Overstreet Wilson?
Wait a minute. What's the motion?
Just strike 2.
Strike 2. Oh, yes.
Councilor Cuddy?
Yes.
Councilor Clarko?
No.
Mayor Genatino?
Aye. Any further discussion on the resolution? Call the roll on the resolution.
Councilor Diego?
Yes.
Councilor Overstreet Wilson?
Yes.
Councilor Cuddy?
Yes.
Councilor Clarko?
Aye.
Mayor Genatino?
Aye.
Carried.
Thank you, Chief. Award Resolution Number 96 of 2026, awarding a contract for professional services for the City of Auburn geothermal HVAC replacement project. Do we have a sponsor? Councilor Clarko, second by Councilor Diego.
Award Resolution 96 of 2026, whereas this, whereas the City of Auburn City Council has adopted fiscal year 2026 through 2030 capital improvement program with Resolution 33 of 2006, which prioritizes the replacement of the geothermal HVAC units at City Hall, Auburn Police Department, and Auburn City Ambulance buildings. And whereas the City of Auburn issued a request for proposals to solicit professional consulting services to provide engineering, architectural related services for the City of Auburn geothermal HVAC replacement project. Whereas on July 30th, the city received proposals from 8 qualified consulting firms. And whereas a committee of 5 city staff was formed to review and score the proposals against the criteria outlined in the RFP, and after conducting the consultant selection scoring process, 2 firms were selected to be interviewed, IDP Engineering and IMEG Consulting Corporation. And whereas IMEG Consultant Corporation was then selected to provide professional services for the tasks 1 through 6 of the RFP, which is an existing condition assessment, energy model analysis, heating and cooling load verification, energy efficiency and incentive analysis, code compliance review, and preliminary design, with the opportunity to extend the contract to complete tasks 7 through 11, future services, bidding services, construction, administration, startup, commissioning, and training. And whereas it is now necessary that IMEG Consultant Corporation be awarded the contract for professional consulting services, tasks 1 through 6 for the City of Auburn geothermal HVAC project in an amount not to exceed $70,000. Now therefore be it resolved, the Auburn City Council does hereby award a contract to IMEG Consultants Corporation of Rochester, New York for professional consulting services tasks 1 through 6 in an amount not to exceed $70,000 and charge to the City of Auburn Geothermal HVAC Replacement Project Account HA 1620440MO. Be it further resolved, the mayor is hereby authorized to execute all necessary agreements, certifications, and reimbursement requests for the geothermal HVAC replacement project on behalf of the city. Be it further resolved, the funding of the resolution is supported by fiscal year 2026 through 30 CIP and bond ordinance number 2 of 2026. Cost of the resolution, the amount of $70,000 is charged to the 2026 City of Auburn Geothermal HVAC Replacement Project Account HA 1620440MO. All set there.
Question, discussion from the council? Councilor Diego?
Thank you, Mayor. I think the only thing I wanted to add to that, so people are aware, obviously in the financial situation of the city, that $70,000 is already there. That's something we authorized previously. That was part of the breakdown of what that 2.7 million was. So that's all I wanted to add. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody else? I also want to, piggyback on that, and we've talked about it many times here at council, that the heating units, especially in the police department, are in terrible shape. They've caught on fire a couple of times. This work is long overdue, so thank you to staff for seeing this through, and I know we're applying for some funding to hopefully offset this cost, so thank you for that as well. Please call the roll.
Councilor Diego?
Yes.
Councilor Overstreet Wilson?
Yes.
Councilor Cuddy?
Yes.
Councilor Clarko?
Aye.
Mayor Gentino?
Aye. Agreement Resolution Number 97 of 2026, authorizing the City of Auburn to proceed with negotiations regarding the proposed purchase of 16 South Street Shines Theater, and with council's permission, I'd like to make the motion on this. Second. Councilor Diego?
Agreement Resolution 97 of 2026, whereas the City of Auburn owns real property and improvements commonly known as 16 South Street, Auburn, New York, known as Shines Theater, and whereas Shine On through member Bree Kishman has submitted a letter of intent proposing to purchase the property for $70,000 subject to the negotiation and execution of a formal purchase and sale agreement. And whereas the proposal contemplates a $2,500 earnest money deposit upon execution of a formal purchase and sale agreement. And whereas the proposal includes due diligence and feasibility period for the proposed purchaser to inspect and evaluate the property, determine the feasibility of the proposed redevelopment, secure necessary project funding, including an initial structural inspection period of 60 days, due diligence period of 180 days, and an optional extension of 90 days. Whereas the proposed closing date is on or about January 15, 2027, whereas the Auburn City Council desires to authorize negotiations based upon the proposal, now therefore be resolved, the Auburn City Council authorizes city staff to negotiate with Shine On concerning the proposed purchase of the property and to prepare a formal purchase and sale agreement based upon a purchase price of $70,000 and such other terms as are necessary to protect the city's interests. And now therefore be resolved that the resolution authorizes negotiations and preparation of a proposed purchase and sale agreement, but does not authorize the execution of that agreement, conveyance of the property, or closing of the transaction without further approval of the Auburn City Council. All set, Mayor.
Very good, thank you. Any questions or discussion from the council? Councilor Diego?
Thank you, Mayor. One question I just had. Appreciate Ms. Kishman coming here with the proposal. It's been sitting on the market a long time. It's been a long process. Only thing that I would like to add in there, if possible, with obviously everybody's approval, is whose insurance is going to cover if something happens during this due diligence period. I'm going to use Mr. Garland's saying that he says, first priority is to protect the city. That building's old. If you look at the amount of days, this could go on about 11 months, 330 days for this due diligence period. I just don't want to see something happen to anybody in there at all for that case, but I definitely don't want the city getting sued on the backside if somebody falls through the floor or something falls in. So maybe that's a question for Mr. Garland.
Well, the property is covered under the city's would fall outside of our coverage. However, this property is treated the same as any other city property for the purposes of someone falling through the floor.
If I could just add, in the past, we've also asked people walking through our buildings to sign hold harmless agreements. So we could, and Mr. Garland has drafted those in the past, so we could work on that with Ms. Kishman and her team.
Yeah, that'd be great. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Could we have Ms. Kishman come up?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, please.
I think that's a great question, by the way, fantastic. One of the things that's important to note is I appreciate the information on that as well, is that anybody who is entering the building, other than myself signing a hold harmless waiver, is going to be a commercial inspectors who have their own licensed bonded companies, and they are insured. So it's not going to be any kind of weird situation of anybody, ghost hunting in the middle of the night, nothing like that. So I just think that's important to note based on what you said.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else from council? Ms. Kishman, thank you for taking the time to be here this evening. Thank you for your interest in taking a chance on this. As Councilor Diego said, it's a long time coming. City took ownership of this property a couple years ago, a little over a year ago, I believe. We had high hopes for the previous owner. Unfortunately, COVID happened, and I think that derailed a lot of their efforts. Please know that this is a project that the community pays attention to. The more you can communicate to us and to the community, I think the better. And I think that that'll help build trust with people who are paying attention to this project. I see some familiar faces in the audience who have, this has been a labor of love for them for a long time. So I just wanted to note that. I'm sure if you've been paying attention, you already know that it's a hot topic.
It's a soap opera is what it is, but it's worth it. The arts it's a passion project. We know that is what the arts are forever and will be. And thank you for your sentiments. So yeah, thanks.
All right, very good, thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilor Diego?
Yes.
Councilor Overstreet Wilson?
Yes.
Councilor Cuddy?
Yes.
Councilor Clarko?
Aye.
Mayor Gentine?
Aye. Council Resolution number 98 of 2026 regarding automatic license plate reader services. Do we have a sponsor? Councilor Cuddy, second by Councilor Clarko.
Council Resolution 98 of 2026, whereas the City of Auburn is committed to transparency, accountability, and compliance with the city charter, city code, and applicable law, and whereas the City of Auburn currently uses automatic license plate reader services provided by Flock Safety, and whereas the City of Auburn entered into an agreement for ALPR technology without the Auburn City Council formally authorizing or approving the agreement in accordance with the city's charter and applicable law, and whereas the City Council has determined for various reasons that the city should discontinue those services and review its policies concerning the future use of ALPR technology. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council that Section 1, contract termination, the appropriate city officials are directed to take all lawful and reasonably available steps to terminate the city's contract with Flock Safety in accordance with the contract's terms and applicable law. Section 2, suspension of use. Upon delivery of the required 30 days written notice of termination to Flock Safety, city departments and employees shall immediately cease use of Flock Safety cameras, databases, and related services, with termination of the contractual relationship to become effective upon expiration of the 30-day notice period in accordance with the terms of the contract. Section 3, equipment and data. The appropriate city official shall coordinate the deactivation and removal of equipment associated with the contract and address the retention, return, transfer, or deletion of city data in accordance with the contract, applicable law, and the city's record retention obligations. Section 4, future APL are used prior to entering into, renewing, extending, or materially amending any contract for ALPR services. The City Council shall work with applicable staff to adopt and implement an internal policy governing the use, access, data sharing, security, oversight, and retention of ALPR data. The city shall undertake this process as expeditiously as practicable. Section 5, implementation. The appropriate city officials are authorized and directed to take reasonable actions necessary to implement this resolution, subject to the city charter, applicable ordinances, contractual obligations, and applicable law. And effective date, resolution will take effect immediately.
Very good, thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I want to thank the city staff, particularly the Corporation Council, for helping draft this. I'd like to thank the public's input, the cooperation with the Auburn Police Department. I know this has been a difficult issue for many people, but as was stated earlier, this is a national issue, and it is something that is affecting people's lives here in Auburn and their concerns for their privacy. I think we're doing the right thing. I also want to put forth that, you know, towards the end of this resolution, we are going to move forward with some kind of, you know, policy that is going to create a framework and parameters for future ALPR use. And with that being said, you know, going back to the previous discussion, it's just important for us now, because we got into this, we got into possession of these cameras through the LETEC grant. I only wanted to just put this forth so that we're kind of being more due diligent than we have in the past. So I look forward to this policy being developed. I know that there have been alternatives that have been put forth that do not have the AI component, that are closed off from the cloud, and you know, I know that we can find a solution that where the Auburn Police Department can do their job and people's privacy can be respected. I don't think it's as hard as it sounds, or has been stated in the past. I know we can do this. I look forward to voting for this resolution tonight.
I have a question. I'm not sure who would answer it. I know we have to give the company 30 days, and after 30 days, then we can deactivate it. And I think before I said, do we unplug it? I'm not sure what are the steps to deactivating it looks like. So I guess in my mind, the only thing that I can imagine is that it's plugged in somewhere, you unplug it, then we get folk to take it down from where they are mounted. Or do we have to take a look at the computers that they're plugged to, think about the cloud that they are connected to? Do we scrub that? I just am trying to imagine what the steps are to cease the use of the flock cameras.
Chief?
Hello again.
Hello.
So we can't scrub it. There's Rosario with some cases. If we ever were to scrub it completely and we have a criminal case in regards to that, that means we lose the case. So we can't just scrub the data. In regards to taking it down, some of it's hardwired into a pole, which means you need an electrician to come out to take it down, and a construction crew. Some of it is just a solar panel attached to the camera itself. So one person could easily, or two, take it down that way.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions for the Chief while he's up here? Councilor Diego.
Just want to make a comment, please, Mayor. Thank you. Everybody knows why I've stood on this since March and get accused of being pro-police over everybody else, and I'm always going to defend all the public guys, police, fire, ambulance, doesn't matter who they are. A couple things that I just wanted to list again, and it's not going to change the fact of what's going to happen here tonight, but one of the things that sticks with me the most about this is us refusing to let Flock come and speak. It's like going to court, you let the defendant speak, but you don't let the prosecutor, or vice versa. We can't do business like that. It's a horrible precedence to set, to not let the company that we're trying to get rid of come and speak to us and at least tell their side of the story per se. They may be trying to sell it like Councilor Cuddy said, and I'm sure they probably would, but there's a lot that goes to this. The amount of money we're going to lose is pretty extreme. Hopefully Flock's good with us and they throw us a bone and maybe they'll refund the money. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm only happy that it was a grant, and hopefully we don't have to pay it back as well. We haven't really verified anything. People come here and speak every week. I said it last week, I said it the week before, I'll say it now. I can pull up 10 articles, 10 sites that say Flock's the greatest thing for every 10 that you come here and say they're horrible. I mean, there's a lot of misinformation. I'm not saying Flock's good at all. I'm not saying that. I am saying that we can't let certain things be said here and steer our decisions. I still think it's about cameras and not more than that. I mean, like you said, we're already talking about the license plate readers inside the police car. We're talking about Axon. We're talking about body cams. This is already spiraling into something that it shouldn't be in the first place. We could have took care of this back in April. We could have just said, you didn't procure the grant properly, it's over. I don't even know why we've talked about it for 5 months, honestly. If we knew that was the route we were going to go, then we could have just said, hey, we didn't accept the grant, hence like we were talking a little while ago, and it's over. And we probably could have had something in place by now. It just, it kind of reminds me of the budget process where we kind of brought it on ourselves again. We put things out there and we let it fester and we let it fester and it goes on. Of course, we were very busy with the budget process. That was going to take priority, as it should have. But everybody sitting here, we know that the grant wasn't procured properly. It's cut and dry. If we didn't want the cameras or Flock, we could have got rid of them April, May, June, July. We could get rid of them tonight. I'm just still going to push for an option to help the police department, and like Councilor Cuddy gave us a bunch last week, I'm going to let the chief look at them, obviously, and he's going to have to be directly involved. We're going to write a policy off of this resolution. He should be involved in that as well. We just don't want to, as Councilor Clarko said last week, you don't want to handcuff the police department based on 8 or 10 people that are coming up here speaking. And like I said, I appreciate the passion they have coming week after week. I don't agree with some of the stuff they say. Some of it's accurate, some of it's not even remotely close, hence talking about people walking down the street and all that. It's not happening here in Auburn. I think we put a little bit of distrust in our own police department when you come up here and start talking about examples saying this guy tracked his girlfriend 7,000 times and this and that, and this police officer tracked this girl across the state lines. Do we have any example of misuse in Auburn at the police department, Chief? No. That's the point I'm driving home here is I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I also go on to the backside of it where Flock caught them because they were logging into the system and they got caught doing what they were doing. There's a little bit of safeguards. They upgraded them last week as I spoke of the upgrades they gave to Flock. But for me, I guess, like I said, probably the most pro-law enforcement guy you're going to find. But I think something that separates me from many people that vote is I'll be voting to end this contract tonight, not because I disagree with Flock, because the process was wrong. We didn't procure the grant properly, and I say we as the council, I wasn't here at the time, but I can separate who I like and who I don't, and whatever the case may be. I'll be voting to end this contract tonight, and I after speaking with the mayor last week, I appreciate you guys working on this resolution, and Mr. Garland as well. I also appreciate saying that we're going to try to expedite this so this doesn't go on for months and months and months. Let everybody get involved, but that's where I stand with it. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Anyone else? So a lot's been said over the last several months on this topic. You know, my predecessor had he had a lot of sayings, but one of his sayings was, where you stand on an issue depends on where you're sitting. And I think this is one of those times, right? People are passionate on both sides of it. You know, I agree, we can't let what's said completely drive our decisions. We have to sort through it as elected officials. We have to listen to what everybody says, whether we agree with it or not. and then sort through what's fact, what's fiction. That's our job as elected officials. Councilor Diego, I agree with you. For me, the biggest thing is we messed up, plain and simple. I say we because we're all the same organization. Chief, this is not an indictment against you or your predecessor. A step was missed, and our job as legislators is to make sure that our policies are followed. And when they're not, I think we have an obligation to take corrective action. I am in favor of a policy and expediting that policy. Chief, I want you directly involved with that. I think that's important because I do feel that this technology, if used responsibly, with safeguards, with guardrails, is important. It's interesting, the International Association of Chiefs of Police just came out with a statement on it. Have you seen this yet?
No.
It's on ALPRs, and they say that IACP support for ALPR technology is grounded in an equally strong commitment to constitutional policing, individual privacy, civil rights, civil liberties, and public trust. Because ALPR systems may create records containing a license plate image, a contextual vehicle image, and the date, time, and location, agencies must carefully manage how this data is collected, accessed, retained, analyzed, and shared. Strong safeguards protect individual rights and sustain public confidence, essential to effective policing. Do you disagree with any of that?
No.
I don't think there's anybody up here that disagrees with any of that.
We're doing that already.
Yeah. But I think it's something like this, right? So, and I think we had this conversation. Policies exist. I trust that people follow policies, whether it's the police department or DPW, right? But certain policies, I think, have to be either grounded in law or a little more oversight. For instance, use of force, right? You have a use of force policy, but that's grounded in state law, right? This is an example of the state really jumping in the pool without ever having a swimming lesson, right? They made all this money available to technology that nobody even really knew what it was. And now we're seeing the result of that across the state, actually across the nation. There's municipalities all across the nation who are struggling with the same thing. So I think that these, and I'm going to make sure council and you have this as well, and corporation council, I think that these 8 policies from the IACP should be a good starting point for us. Yeah, so I don't really have much more to say than that. I know that this has been tough on everybody. Chief, I appreciate your openness and willingness to work with us and listen to us, listen to the public. It's not always easy, right? But that's part of our jobs, and you've been diligent in doing that through this whole process, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All set? Please call the roll.
Councilor Diego?
Yes.
Councilor Overstreet Wilson?
Yes.
Councilor Cuddy?
Yes.
Councilor Calarco?
Aye.
Mayor Gentile?
Aye.
Carried.
Next up, we have a presentation on the 2026 City Summer Rec Program. Brian Rhodes, our Superintendent of DPW, and Ms. Meg Gremley. Welcome to both of you.
My screen's not.
Oh.
Ready? Thank you, Mayor and Council. Appreciate your time. 2026 City of Auburn Summer Rec Program. So I think it shocked all of us. We had 576 children register for the program this summer. The total attendance was 2,759. A little less than last year, but we did have a third of the program was inside due to extreme heat, rain, and poor air quality from the wildfires. The average attendance inside was 106 and outside it was 176. So I think it's clear that when we're inside, the attendance is lower. Here's a little line graph to show from when we started to now. I don't think we're ever going to touch that second day last year, that 344. But we did end our last 4 days were the highest last 4 days of all 4 years, so it's promising.
That was the best weather.
Yeah.
The summer.
Yeah, yeah.
We offered supervised playground activities each day. Board games were also offered for kids to play. When we were inside, we took a book break, and kids either partnered up to read or read by themselves for about 10 to 15 minutes. We had arts and crafts offered daily.
We have our field and court games. We offer basketball, lacrosse, foursquare, flag football. Bucket golf was a new addition. Kids love that. And we offer tennis every day, but the last 2 weeks we actually have tennis lessons. Pictured there is Jordan, our instructor, and the USTA Eastern funds those lessons. And we also offer wiffle ball every day, and this was a special day. The Auburn Double Days came down to Casey, one of those hot days, and played wiffle ball. And John Yakuzino, the Double Days general manager, gave everyone free popsicles. There's our beloved Coach Perry. And Gaga Ball is always packed, inside or out.
Home Depot joined and brought dry erase building kits, so we offered those during the first week, and then they left extras that we were able to use throughout the rest of the summer. Dan at the community skate shop provided 2 very popular skateboard lessons. Kids loved learning, and his crew was amazing with the kids. Nick Deloya from Flick provided culinary lessons every week. Kids were able to practice different skills and make some new culinary creations that they could also make again at home. We introduced bingo this year for the first time, which was great because we were stuck inside many days. So we did a few whole group bingo games, and then we offered it interspersed throughout the summer as well. Key Bank provided snow cones for all of the participants.
Cuba Museum stopped by Clifford Park with their mobile museum. Cornell Cooperative Extension did pumpkin pie in a bag, some homemade slime.
Kim from PlaySpace came every Tuesday to provide motor and STEM activities for all the kids. Rev Theater provided 2 acting workshops, and then also presented Jack and the Turnip Route as a performance for our kiddos at Clifford Park.
We had our first carnival day. Unfortunately, it had to be inside. But this was a Bounce and Beyond donation, right?
Correct.
Yes. We had popcorn and all these fun carnival games. And of course, we had our water slides. I think every park had water slides
Correct.
this summer.
We were able to offer laser tag twice this summer, and I think it's important to note that we like to offer activities that are very common for kids to enjoy throughout the summer, but laser tag is one of those activities that a lot of kids aren't able to get to play laser tag often, so kids loved it. So we had so much fun the first time that we were able to bring it back later in the summer. And we also, for the first time this summer, had an amazing parachute, which older and younger kids really enjoyed.
Auburn Fire Department stopped by for fire safety again and hosed them down.
And it was cold that day.
Yeah, it was. Kickball game versus staff. I don't know who won that one.
I heard it was close.
And then Girl Scouts donated some tie-dye kits. And we had some mini golf inside the rink.
We were able to have some residents from the Commons on St. Anthony join us for bingo. The residents loved teaming up with our children at rec, and it was so much fun. I honestly don't know who had more fun, if it was the residents or the kids, but the residents couldn't have been more excited at the end of it from just the positivity that the kids brought to them, so that was amazing. We also had our egg drop, our annual egg drop. So we had Team Perry, Team Otterson. Sorry, I gotta figure out who these teams are. This is Team Quinn, Team Drew, Team Atticus, Team Olivia, Team Cam. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Hannah. This is Olivia. Team Lydia. Team Talora, and all of the contraptions survived, which was exciting. The kids were so excited to see their contraption opened, and were thrilled to know that it had survived. They all got a prize because their egg made the drop. We had Trooper Denoto and K9 Rory for a K9 presentation from the State Police Department.
And we had face painting from Charming Cheeks. Did a good job. Go Bills.
For the United Way Day of Caring, our participants cycled through and all worked on the thank you cards that the United Way sends out.
And we had our animal show again. That's Dan from G&G Animals. And our Falcon Park Fun Day. We had pizza. There's Tom Harvard from Mark's. The stack he donated is taller than him. But I really want to acknowledge, cranking out 15 sheet pizzas in lunch hour is a hard job, and we really appreciate it.
We had Jim from Bubble Mania. The kids had a great time making some bubble creations.
Auburn Police Department came through a little BP, and tested the kids' speed with the radar gun.
We had our largest ever obstacle course. It was over 100 feet.
Had Gaga Ball again. And special thanks to Tom Donatino for donating his time, aka DJ Threshold.
Very cool slip and slide. And a dunk tank that our counselors and junior counselors took turns in. And it was very hot that day, so I think they were all begging to go in it.
More water slides, of course.
At the summer homecoming, we had a great turnout. We were able to provide mini golf and a water slide.
And thank you to our staff. We have Tyler Quinn, Colin Perry, Tatum Poole, Kathy Otterson, Riley Fitzgerald, Olivia Leader, Hannah Blair, Drew Hurling, Lydia Hurling, Quinn Freeman, Alicia Buckley, and not pictured is Talora Buteri Peterson, Cameron Doucette, and Madison Coldgrove.
Our children made a thank you sign for all the sponsors. They staff called them over. Staff did most of the writing with the kids signing their own names, just sharing their favorite parts of rec. Do you want me to go now? Okay. So we had an incredible amount of sponsors for our 2026 summer rec program, and I think this just goes to show what an amazing community that we live in. It's hard for kids to grasp the concept of how supported they are in our community, but I think that when they look back on their youth as adults, wherever they plant their roots, they'll know that they grew up in a hometown that really cared about them and was passionate about their success. So I know that Brian and I are just thrilled to be part of just a small piece of the puzzle that provides our youth with some positivity towards future success in their lives. Not listed are some individuals that donated to our Amazon wish list. We were unable to get a list from Amazon of all of those donors, so we would just like to thank all the individuals that also ordered things from Amazon that were shipped to DPW and used by our kids all summer long. And then a special thanks to city staff that do a lot of the behind the scenes work, especially Sarah Gauthier for doing all the purchasing, Colleen LeMay, Melissa Simmons for handling the new registration process, and Chuck Mason for his endless support of the program and promotion of our programming.
The video's on the screen.
And we have video. Where is it?
You'll need to close the PowerPoint and then double click the video.
That's it. Any questions or comments from the council?
I just want to thank Brian and Meg and everybody that was involved in the program. I remember Terry talking about it last year about getting this thing back off the ground. It's outstanding. It's been really good for the community. The only thing I would like you to do, Brian, is the mayor was saying he likes how Mike Talbot would tell jokes and make him laugh, and you haven't done that yet. So if you could add that into the presentation, the mayor would be happy. But appreciate it. Thank you.
I just want to say congratulations to both of you for a well-run program. Your presentation in the PowerPoint demonstrates that you didn't just cater to one age group of kids, so it was extremely creative, and you didn't throw we're just going to do this today and then we're going to go to another site and do that tomorrow. It was well-rounded. You stimulated not just their desire to have fun, but like their creativity. I believe on one of the first slides you talked about the place-based folk coming and how that was more geared around like fine motor skills, and so kids that don't even know that they were learning things were having fun and learning those things as well. And I look forward to what it will be next year, and hopefully our money will really expand and we'll get more kids to participate because they'll definitely remember this. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Councilor Cuddy?
I know I sound like a broken record, but it does get better every year. And I know that the weather and, air quality kind of, might have brought down the numbers, but I think the quality is definitely increasing. The one thing that I felt was really just amazing was the Commons of St. Anthony, bringing older people with the youth. It really just, I could tell that really meant a lot to some of the residents there. So keep doing whatever you're doing, keep doing it, keep expanding. Just so impressed with this program, and just very happy that it's getting better and better every year.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think I'm really just echoing what my colleagues have said. The program is amazing, what it keeps growing and becoming. I want to really acknowledge too, while sponsorships are amazing and this cannot be done without them, it is also a lot of work to manage all those donations and to put it together in a way that will make sense and can be utilized to its fullest, and you guys really do that. So I just want to acknowledge how much work that really is, and thank you both for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll reiterate everything my colleagues said. Thank you both. Last day, on Thursday at Falcon Park, do you remember what the young man said to you as he was leaving?
Thanks for a great summer.
And that's the goal, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And the last thing I'm going to say is I watched everybody on this side of the railing while that video was playing, and it's the first time tonight everybody was smiling. And that I say that half joking, but the importance and the power of kids, right? Like if we pay more attention to kids, stop taking ourselves so serious, stop being so miserable and angry about everything, and realize like life is good. There's things that need attention and things that need to be fixed, but life is good. So thank you.
Thanks.
Other business from the council? Other business from the council? The only thing I have is, and we talked a little bit about it earlier, I would like after the Labor Day break to have a discussion on the floor about overall grant acceptance policy. I know at one time the city council used to vote to accept grant funding, so I'd like to have a serious conversation that includes what that means for staff. Because I know that's going to, like Councilor Diego said, that is going to be additional work, but maybe we learn a lesson here and we get better going forward. I understand there is a request for executive session.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. 2 items related to the sale of real property and 1 related to collective negotiations.
Do we have a sponsor for executive session? Councilor Cuddy, second by Councilor Clarko.
Executive session called 6:58 p.m. Councilor Diego?
Yes.
Councilor Overstreet Wilson?
Yes.
Councilor Cuddy?
Yes.
Councilor Clarko?
Aye.
Mayor Genatino?
Aye. We'll be in recess for executive session.